Welcome back, you lovely people. Hope you're all doing amazing out there. Hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather. Just napping in the garden. Luckily, woke up just in time. Here we are. So, ask me anything, please. Whilst I'm chatting, put the questions in the comments, in the chat, in the comments. Definitely get to all of them by the end. I'll do a little market update to get us started. And of course, today was the day where Bitcoin reclaimed $50,000, at least for a couple of hours. And now we're just below. So only just $49,700 and looking extremely bullish. That even in the short term, had a dip a few hours ago, and now it's being bought back up. So all of the price action looks beautiful. Has done since the bottom. Definitely make sure you watch on the channel, the video I did about the channel that we're in, because we are respecting it. We are heading upwards in this channel, which looks exactly like 2013, 2017. And we're not saying that it's going to be exactly the same forever, but this game is all about pattern recognition. And that's exactly how we're in this situation where we said a year ago that the price of Bitcoin was going to be a lot higher in a year, and it was at 8,000, now we're at 50,000. So things are going to plan, but the reason why we're here is we continue to learn and study and stay humble, because the next 2 to 4 months is going to be epic in one way, shape or form. We need to make sure that we are making good decisions. So that's why we're here talking every week and doing my videos, etc., etc. What do we expect next? Looking most likely from here that we are heading up, at least for another impulse to the upside. I've put the range between 55 and 64,000. My community that I'm part of, Conquer the Markets, they were talking into the 70s. So we can't say for sure, but we're not going to head up in a straight line. We know that. So we're looking for a next impulse up, and then we're going to have a correction. Why am I telling you that? It's so you don't panic, right? I'm not on this channel to teach trading. So just be very clear about that when I'm talking. I'm actually, 80% of my work here is to teach mindset. So when I say that we're going to have a correction, it's just so that you don't panic and make any rash decisions. We're looking for the cycle peak. Our range is October and November. Again, the Conquer Markets community are looking into December. So, but I'm still October to November is my base case. Can talk about that more if anybody's got any questions on it. And there'll be 2 or 3 waves up there. So, let's say 60,000, 20 to 30% correction, 110,000, 30 to 40% correction, 300,000, 80% correction. And I'm talking very broad strokes and not picking numbers out of the air, it's based on data. And we will keep evaluating as the data presents itself to us. But that's the sort of base case that we are looking at the moment, and have been all along, by the way. I know there's a lot of people out there that flip-flop. And we will do that if we're shown something which invalidates our hypotheses, but we haven't seen that so far. So look, we're very, very happy with Bitcoin, obviously. Since we broke the most important trend line in crypto, we've been extremely bullish. We expect that to continue for 2 to 4 months. Altcoins looking bullish. You know, we've had a few weeks of really, really nice altcoin gains. And what we're looking at now is for that to level out versus Bitcoin. They'll probably go, there'll be some, we're in the bull market. There will be days and weeks where altcoins go absolutely mental. Just be careful out there. Make sure that you know what you're doing. Don't want to lose any Bitcoin in the process if you do choose to play them. And I'm recommending not playing them for now. And we're looking towards our final Altseason, which will happen at the end of the cycle, because that is when you would expect them all to go up basically at once, like we picked Altseason at the beginning of this year. But if you've been in the last few weeks, obviously you've done really well. So well done on that. I'd expect it to level off versus Bitcoin as we move forwards. And then in a month or two, Bitcoin will take over the show, and you'll certainly at that point want most of your allocation in Bitcoin, and then that will flip again. But I'll be talking about that on the channel as we move through that process. So I think that's all there is to discuss today on the market. Obviously, we're very happy to be back doing these again at $50,000. Absolutely beautiful. Well done to those that were here at $30,000. Right, questions. Ben, how can Bitcoin be compared to gold? I've heard people comparing it to gold, so I was wondering if you could help me understand this. Yes, for sure, I can help you understand it. I can recommend reading the Bitcoin Standard, which is the best book that I know about the comparison of Bitcoin to gold. Fantastic book. Really one of the Bibles that I would suggest everybody here should have read the Bitcoin Standard. If not, then probably time to get on it. So why do we care about gold for a start? Why did humanity care about gold? Well, gold became the monetary system of the world. How did that happen? Was it a government that said gold is going to be the monetary standard, we're going to go onto the gold standards? Well, no, of course not, because they have little to benefit from that. The market chose gold as money. Gold has been the best money that humanity has ever known. The reason for that: one, it's extremely durable, so it lasts across time, it doesn't corrode. Number two, it can be split into smaller units, melted it down into gold coins, gold bars, etc. So you can easily price products and services in it, and you can easily use it as a medium of exchange. And number three, most importantly, is its scarcity. There is, I believe, all of the gold that has been mined in humanity can fit into 2 swimming pools. So it's a very scarce asset. And what does scarcity achieve? It means that the money, if it's scarce, holds its value. It is a good store of value because you can't make more of it. So the inflation rate for gold is about 1.5% per year, and it's very hard for them to increase that. So as the price of gold goes up, they cannot print or create or mine loads more of it. They can get a little bit more of it if there's more money in the industry, but they can't really get above 2-3% best case scenario. Compare that to fiat currency, where they can create unlimited amounts of it, which is why it's not a good store of value. Now Bitcoin exists, and Bitcoin is now the best, hardest, soundest money ever discovered. Why is that? It's got all of the qualities of gold, but it improves on it in 2 ways. Number one, it can be more easily transferred. It's very hard for you to send $1 million of gold to Australia. It's probably going to cost you £100,000 or dollars to get it there, with all of the security and shipping, etc. But I can send you £1 million worth of Bitcoin very, very easily. And number two, it solves for scarcity. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. So we don't know how much gold exists. We know it's scarce, but we don't know its supply, and that supply can't be tracked very easily. It's not on a distributed ledger where we know all of it and where it is and how many have been mined and how many will be mined. And we know that with Bitcoin. So we solved money essentially with Bitcoin. So it can be compared to gold in many ways, but then it improves upon it. Sam, now that we are moving upwards, when are you planning on releasing the exit strategy course? That will be at or around the all-time high when I have that data, because I need to know when we're putting that in so that I can get a good grasp of when the exit's going to be. And that could happen reasonably quickly. There's a likelihood that we're at or around the all-time high in the next couple of weeks. So around that time, then that's when that piece of content will be released. Ben, do I stake any coins? No, I don't. I know some people in the Telegram group do. So if you're interested, then definitely have a chat in there. Johnny, do you still think we have a couple of months left of alts outperforming Bitcoin? I'll do the second bit next. No, I don't. I don't believe that. I believe that they are going to go in tandem for a month or so. When the market's going up, altcoins will probably be outperforming, and when it's going down, Bitcoin will be outperforming, which leaves you flat. And then Bitcoin will take over. That's what I'm expecting based on the last cycle. I'm trying to trade and increase my portfolio so I can have more to put into Bitcoin, but I'm not sure when to make the switch. Yeah. So just be very careful. I really like how you position that though. You're trying to trade to get more Bitcoin. I couldn't agree more that that is the only reason why you would trade, because Bitcoin is, up 400% in a year and about to begin its parabolic phase. So you do not miss out on what Bitcoin is offering you. It's the only trade that matters. And if you can, of course, get more Bitcoin, that is like being able to get more gold during the collapse of the Weimar Republic or the French Republic or the Roman Empire. So absolutely get more digital gold. Just make sure with your trading that you don't misplace your digital gold. That would be a very, very big error. Hitesh, what are your expectations once we hit 64K in terms of a correction? We may not hit 64K, I don't know. I've said 55 to 64, and Conquer the Markets community is saying in the 70s. So it's a broad range, and that's purposeful because we're not looking to trade it. And then the correction, you know, we could come back into the most important trend line in crypto, which could be 40%. I've always said to expect I've said for the next phase, expect 30-40% down days. So expect the worst, and if it ends up being less than that, then that's obviously positive. The reason why I'm warning you not to trade as well, you know, if I say that it could go down 40% and we go down 15% and immediately bounce back and take out the all-time high and blast to 100,000, you do not want to get left behind. So just be cautious. Have a look at what happened in 2017 and 2013. They both had these nice corrections. In 2017, we came back to test the most important trend line in crypto, which was a 20% correction. And in 2013, it looked a little bit different, depending on how you look at it. Got one here that's a 25% correction. We also had a 37% correction. So yeah, we can't say for sure, and we know this cycle will have its nuances as well. So yeah, very, very broad brush estimates. And Hitesh, based on movements so far in the past week, is parabolic phase between October and November? Well, I can't say that what's happened in the past week has given us any more information. My estimate is between mid-October and mid-November based on the halving. If it's the same number of days since the halving as the last cycle, it's mid-October. I did a calculation based on the block counts, which came in at mid-November because blocks are being processed slower. So that's my range since the halving. The Conquer the Markets community aligning it up from the bottom of the mid-cycle shakeout. And because we were down there for 2 months consolidating, that puts us into December, even late December, early January potentially. So I'm very much sticking to my base case, not only because I think it's favor at the moment, but secondly, you know, if we're aiming for mid-October to mid-November and it's delayed, then to me that's a far better strategy than be expecting it in December and then, oh shit, it's happening and we haven't planned for it. So if we go early and we end up being early and it's later, then I think that's the most sensible position to be in. So that is where we're at. All right. Katja, can you please explain Austrian economics? We're on a live in 5 minutes. Probably can actually, because Austrian economics is simply the study of the free market. So they believe there should be no government or authoritarian intervention or central planning when it comes to money and markets and trade, and that the freer the market, the more prosperous the society will be. And it has been shown and proven throughout history that this is true. But under that system, there are not people sat around the money printer and around board tables who can make decisions about how to plan an economy that will best serve their interests. So there are always people who are trying to undermine free market and sound money, which is why they like to tell you that they need to implement fiat currency over sound money, and that they need to be in control of the money supply and in control of decisions around the interest rate and the supply of that money. Every time it's happened in the past, history does rhyme. This is not the first fiat experiment. There have been many fiat experiments, and they all crashed and burned with the collapse of society and desperation and suffering. This time is proving to be no different, but we do not learn from our mistakes. Or we do learn from our mistakes, but there are people in power who are not incentivized to learn from our history, humanity's mistakes. So that's why, and a lot of Austrian economics has essentially been silenced and censored because it is not serving the elites. It creates a fair system, and we know that they would prefer a rigged system, which is exactly what we have now. Because when it's a rigged system, they can get stuff for free and they can extract wealth from the 99%. Austrian economics does not allow that, and and this is where Bitcoin comes in. Bitcoin has come really as it's Austrian economics was taught hundreds of years ago, and now out of the back of this fiat currency experiment and central planning, we have pure Austrian economics in Bitcoin. Jay, do you think the UK will introduce a centralized Bitcoin just as USA and China intend to do? And if so, do you agree this would be the perfect advertising campaign for Bitcoin awareness? Yes, I mean, every government and central planner will implement a digital currency because it gives them full control, or at least that's what they want to believe. And it will give them full control of anybody who does not understand what is taking place. So absolutely, I think the UK are, as you said, they're researching Bitcoin and plan to roll it out. I mean, I don't even like saying that word. It's a bit cringy. And yes, it is the perfect advertising campaign for Bitcoin awareness, but only if we help spread that awareness, because we know that the mainstream are not going to spread proper information about a fair, decentralized digital currency and digital gold. So it's upon us to make sure that everybody that we know is very, very clear on what is happening. If we do that, then, I guess the last people who are not keen on getting rid of their cash and going digital, well, they're not going to have a choice, because cash is going to be, going to become, they're going to make it illegal eventually. You can already see the beginning of that. It won't be legal tender anymore. So at that point, everybody will be on the central bank digital currency app on their phone. And yes, for those last people that haven't bought Bitcoin, hopefully at that point, they'll be easier to convince. They have to switch to a different app. But we know the earlier that we can help them make that switch, the better. So it's upon all of us to be educating. How and when do you see the transition of power unfolding in fiat currency? It's obviously very complex. We haven't had a global reserve fiat currency that has collapsed. So when that happens, we don't have parallels to draw upon in history. So it's going to be quite a unique event. Make no mistake, it is happening. There's a race to the bottom taking place right now with fiat currency. We are in the end game. We don't know whether that end game lasts 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. We don't know that. And how does it play out? Well, you know, all other fiat currency collapses have resulted in complete devastation, suffering, starvation, famine, social collapse, and eventually, in many places, overthrows of the government. The fiat collapse in the Weimar Republic led into horrific austerity, which led into the rise of the National Socialist Party. Now we have National Socialist parties in most countries, which of course was the Nazi Party, and we all know how that ended. So that was a collapse of the mark, a collapse of the French currency. I can't remember what it was called in the 1700s. Led to the hanging and guillotining of the monarchy and the top officials in France. And of course, around all of this is people starving because the value of their currency has gone to zero. How does it play out on a global level? We just don't know the answer to that. And read history, but realize that the best focus of your energy is on protecting yourself and protecting those around you. And we are very, very fortunate that we have Bitcoin. If not, we'd be buying gold right now. We'd be buying gold and silver and land. And this time we have Bitcoin, which we talked about at the beginning, is a better form of gold. So we're very fortunate, and it kind of makes sense. We have one of the most frightening possible stages in humanity approaching, and we have this incredible ray of light, savior, life raft, gift from God in Bitcoin. So it's the light and the dark, and we know that we need to be leaning into the light and supporting others in leaning into the light. So yeah, the question is really unknown about the details of how it plays out. How high do I think Bitcoin will go? My official target is still very much in play, which is 296,000. I will be recalculating as we go past the all-time high, but at the moment that would probably be a upwards revision rather than a downwards revision. It's like Bitcoin was delivered to us by the Galactic Federation of Light, like you say, the Immaculate Conception. Yeah, 100%, the Immaculate Conception. And it's what gives Bitcoin its value, as well as the incredible technology, is that Immaculate Conception. No matter who produces what cryptocurrency, It could be an exact copy of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has the immaculate conception, which means that there's no central point of failure. There's nobody that can be corrupted. There's nobody that can be put in jail. You know, it's perfect, and it's why it's winning. You know, Bitcoin really is doing what it intended to do, and we need it right now. Yeah, seen XRP rocketing. Yeah, XRP has been doing well. You know, a lot of altcoins have been doing really well the past 2 weeks. So XRP has done pretty well. And I think there's been some better performers. Solana has been absolutely flying. What was the other one that everyone was talking about? Can't remember. Now, I don't follow the altcoin market so closely at the moment, although I have been studying a little bit in preparation for Altseason. Last 7 days, or Avalanche. Yeah, Johnny just said Avalanche, 166% in 7 days. Amazing. I don't know any of these. Luna, I know Luna at 50%. Really good. Rune, old school, at 40%. Solana at 35%. Cardano, yeah, 30%. So some of the people that I really respect in the altcoin space, a lot of them are talking about Solana and Avalanche, as in they're actually doing really great things. And I don't know, because I haven't done my research. Everyone that I really respect still takes the piss out of Cardano, but Solana and Avalanche, I believe, seem to be super legitimate. Hitesh, will you be putting out some videos on your Altseason picks once Binance peaks? Yes, I will. I will. We actually have a small team in the community, and we're doing some research at the moment because we want to be ahead of the curve. That last Altseason will happen very, very quickly. And we need to be fully prepared. It's not like Altseason at the beginning of this year, where you can be late to the party and still make a return. This is going to be a, you know, in and out, wham bam, thank you, mum, you know, and that means that you need to be early to the party. So we're doing the work at the moment, and I will certainly be talking about it on the channel. But, you know, just any altcoin stuff is really, you must know that it's highly, highly speculative. What do you think about the Doge tokenized NFT bringing the value of the Doge NFT picture of Cabuso to $85 million, making it the most expensive NFT ever, even though it's tokenized? I know nothing about that whatsoever. I do know that the Beeple NFT was 60 million or something. So, but yeah, I mean, the NFT space is a whole thing in itself. It's not my area of expertise at all. I'm really focused on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin cycle and managing that to the best of my ability. And the rest is, at the moment, the rest is all noise to me. As we go through the bear market, I may allocate some more time to these speculative technologies. But at the moment, for me, it's all about Bitcoin. 2 to 4 months out from the Bitcoin peak, and the global economy is heading into some form of high inflation stroke hyperinflation. So every time that's happened in history, you better be focused on protecting yourself and focusing on collecting as much inflation hedges as possible. And to me, that's Bitcoin, as you said, the king or the queen of crypto. Respect the king. Jay, do you think there could be a consolidation period after the parabolic blow off top instead of a correction and bear market due to increased demand? No, I do not. You'll hear more of that as we head up, because people do not want to. People want to believe it's going to go on forever, but all bubbles need to be popped. And if Bitcoin goes up past 200,000, 300,000, you know, in a very short period of time, there can be no doubt that that's going to be a bubble, and it will pop, and it will leave those that got too excited in a lot of pain, unless you're following a strategy of buying and holding for a long time, and that's a good strategy. But there'll be people, you know, euphoria really impacts people's emotions. So once we get there, there'll be people saying that we're going to 1 million, or there'll be people saying that the institutions are here, so we're not going down 80%, and then we'll go down 80%, in my opinion. It's all relative. So there's increased demand, and that's why the price is at $50,000. Yeah, of course there's increased demand, but it means the price is higher. So would I buy property for a diversified portfolio? I've done the opposite, sold property to concentrate my portfolio, but not financial advice. Property, I think, in my opinion, it's, if you managed to buy property 40 years ago, then you've probably done well. But is property, I mean, when people talk about diversifying your portfolio, you know, they and you're talking after the blow off top, so I'll come to that. Yeah, if you diversify your portfolio, you're having to diversify away from your winners. So if you're buying and holding for 10 years, would you rather be in property, which is probably going to go up? It probably will go up because they're printing money. It'll go up 20% a year. Or would you rather be in Bitcoin, which is going up 200% a year? You can diversify to lower the volatility, but you lower your returns. After the blow off top is a different story, because that implies that you are looking at the halving cycles. And then, of course, if you can avoid the 80% drawdown in Bitcoin, then fantastic. So you're saying, do you allocate some of those funds to property? I can see arguments for and against it. You know, for it, I mean, you may have loads of money after the blow off top, and therefore, yeah, sure. But of course, you're not going to be able to buy Bitcoin with that at the end of next year, unless the property market has gone up and you refinance, etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, it depends. They do say concentrate your portfolio to become wealthy, and then diversify to keep your wealth. And I would probably say, again, do you really want to diversify away from Bitcoin, which only has 21 million? And there will only ever be 21 million coins that ever exist. Do you want to put some of those coins into a property, or do you want to just hold the Bitcoin? I do believe that those that hold the most Bitcoin are going to become the new powerful and global elites. For me, this game is all about accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible. It's like I was saying about trading, you know, only trade to get more Bitcoin. Could you buy property to get more Bitcoin? Potentially. I would probably be looking to get as many Bitcoin as possible. And then when Bitcoin is so overvalued versus property, then to move into property. And that probably comes when the property market collapses. And by the way, I'm not saying the property market collapses. It will collapse when they want it to collapse. But when it does, you know, you can buy property at 20 cents on the dollar, and that's probably the time to allocate your Bitcoin into property. Not financial advice. Nilo, if we reach your target, are you intending to convert to fiat or convert to stable coins and then rebuy? I'll be doing content around that soon, and they are your options: into fiat or stay in crypto. And if you stay in crypto, into stable coins or asset-backed tokens. These are the options that you have. And, you know, into gold and silver, whether you do that through fiat or through crypto. Only concern is the regulation that many people fear. If they try to regulate Bitcoin, it will only add to Bitcoin's use case, just like when they regulated everything else that they've regulated. Do you remember when they tried to regulate alcohol? What happened there? So, you know, for me, it's take your shot, governments. You know, if you really want to go after it, then see what happens. Bitcoin will win, you know, and it'll probably win in a more convincing fashion if they try and regulate it. You know, it literally cannot be stopped. Jay, if you were Satoshi, would you be tempted to dip into your 1 million Bitcoin wallet? No. To be honest, that's probably one of the only risks to Bitcoin, right? If somebody saw that those coins moving, that would, that's almost the worst thing that I can think of. So I dearly hope not, and I do not expect that to ever happen. It wouldn't make any sense for that to happen. So hopefully not. Nilo, do you prefer any particular stable coins? I do not. I would probably diversify across multiple stable coins. Emma, what are stable coins? They track the dollar 1-to-1. So it's just like holding fiat currency, but in crypto. And I think that's it. That's all the questions. Really good questions. Thank you. I hope that was helpful. And I don't know who Satoshi is, to be honest. There's so many theories out there. I don't know. I like to believe that it's somebody that we've never heard of and will never hear of. And Jay, I don't know if there's a pound stablecoin. I don't. All the ones I've seen have been in dollars. So thing is, it's irrelevant. I guess it's not irrelevant if you care about the exchange rate between. If you think that the exchange rate is going to fluctuate between dollars and pounds, so I guess it's not irrelevant because the DXY, the dollar, is all over the place at the moment. But then you'd have to decide whether you think the pound is going to appreciate or depreciate versus the dollar. I'm not a Forex trader, so I've got no idea. Nick, books on crypto, The Bitcoin Standards by Saifedean Ammous is your starting point. Definitely make sure you read the white paper as well. And the other books I would read are When Money Dies by Adam Ferguson about the Weimar Republic hyperinflation, and fiat money inflation in France, which is about the French hyperinflation. That, you know, those 3 books will give you everything that you ever need, really, in terms of what we're talking about here. Yeah, thank you everybody, really appreciate it. Great session. Right, I'll love you and leave you. Take care. Talk to you soon.